Have you ever been in a situation where someone just disappears without explanation? One moment things seem to be going well, and the next you're met with silence. No closure, no clarity. Or maybe you've dealt with someone who shifts unpredictably, showing interest one day, then pulling away the next. It can leave you confused, frustrated, and doubting yourself. Here's the truth. Some people will test you emotionally, often without even realizing they're doing it. And if you don't understand how to navigate these moments, you may find yourself stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and emotional exhaustion. It's not your fault that these dynamics exist, but it is your responsibility to rise above them. In this video, I'm going to share 10 powerful strategies rooted in Stoic philosophy that will help you handle emotional mind games with calm and clarity. This isn't about trying to control others. It's about mastering yourself, becoming grounded, becoming the man who is steady, composed, and centered no matter what anyone else does. Before we get into these 10 strategies, let's take a step back. Why do emotional games happen in the first place? Why do people ghost, send mixed signals, or keep you guessing? Often, these behaviors are subtle tests of your emotional resilience. They're a way to see if you can be swayed, if your sense of self can be shaken. And when you react with desperation or confusion, you give away your power. Respect begins to fade. You start chasing, not connecting, but you have another option. You can stop playing the game entirely. When you embrace Stoic principles, you learn to hold your ground, to stay emotionally stable, and to stop being affected by the behavior of others. You choose how you respond, instead of being driven by impulse or insecurity. This isn't just about romantic relationships. It's about taking ownership of your emotions in all areas of life. It's about knowing your value, keeping your peace, and refusing to be drawn into unnecessary drama. So, if you're ready to stop reacting and start leading, stay with me. These 10 Stoic strategies will reshape the way you approach every relationship. Number 1. Practice emotional detachment. This is the cornerstone of everything that follows. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means you refuse to let your emotions control your actions. You no longer react impulsively to someone else's behavior. When someone pulls away or acts cold, many men panic. They start obsessing over what went wrong, overanalyzing every detail, and trying to win her back. This emotional turbulence is exactly what gets tested. People want to see how steady you are under pressure. When you chase, when you act from fear or insecurity, you give your power away. Emotional detachment means holding your ground. Whether she reaches out constantly or vanishes for days, your mindset remains steady. You stay grounded, you remain calm, and you respond rather than react. You no longer allow someone else's inconsistency to shape your inner world. This level of composure communicates something powerful. It shows that you are anchored in your own sense of self. You are not dependent on anyone's attention to feel whole, and that quiet strength, that unshakable presence, is exactly what draws people in. Number 2. Learn to identify patterns in behavior. People are often more consistent than they appear, and once you start observing carefully, you'll begin to notice repeated behaviors that reveal deeper intentions. This awareness gives you a major advantage, because when behavior becomes predictable, it becomes manageable. One of the most common patterns is inconsistency. One day, she's enthusiastic and engaged, texting frequently and talking about future plans. The next day, silence. She's distant or vague. This emotional fluctuation can feel confusing, even destabilizing. If you're not grounded, this type of behavior often isn't random. It's a test. The goal is to see how emotionally reactive you are. If you immediately reach out in a panic, asking, "What's wrong?" or trying to fix things, you've shown that you can be emotionally manipulated. But when you recognize the pattern for what it is, you give yourself space to respond with intention. Instead of chasing, you pause. You let her come to you. Your calmness in the face of emotional unpredictability sends a strong message. It shows that you are not easily influenced and that you maintain your center regardless of external circumstances. It's important to note that these behaviors are not always conscious or malicious. Sometimes they're instinctual, but whether intentional or not, your job is the same. Stay emotionally even. Stay aware. Another pattern to look for is breadcrumbing. This happens when someone offers you occasional attention, just enough to keep your interest alive, without ever making a real effort to invest. You'll get the occasional compliment, flirty message, or vague suggestion to meet up, but it never leads anywhere concrete. This tactic is designed to keep you engaged without commitment. To handle this, you don't need to argue or get emotional. You simply respond with clarity. You might say something like, "If you're not genuinely interested in spending time together, I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to keep investing energy into something that leads nowhere." No anger, no frustration, just boundaries. You are showing that your time and attention are valuable, and you will not waste them on uncertainty. That level of self-respect sets you apart from the crowd. Number 3, establish clear boundaries from the beginning. This is not just about guarding your time or emotions. It's about communicating self-respect. If you avoid setting boundaries early on, you unintentionally send the message that your standards are negotiable, and once that line is crossed, it's difficult to reclaim respect. Many men hesitate to set boundaries because they fear being seen as too rigid or losing someone's interest. But here's the truth. Boundaries are not barriers, they are signals. They show that you value yourself. They tell others you have principles and that you're not afraid to walk away from what doesn't align with them. A boundary is not about trying to control someone else's behavior. It's about defining what you're willing to tolerate in your space. For example, if someone repeatedly cancels plans without any consideration, that's not something you just accept and ignore. You address it directly, without anger or blame. You might say, "I've noticed plans have been falling through a lot. I value consistency, and I prefer spending time with people who follow through. If this isn't working for you, that's okay, but I'm not going to keep showing up for uncertainty." This is not a demand, it's a declaration of where you stand. And when you communicate this calmly and firmly, one of two things happens. Either she adjusts and shows you respect, or she doesn't, and you step away. In both cases, you protect your peace. Consider another example. You're seeing someone who enjoys getting attention from others in a way that crosses a line for you. Maybe she flirts openly with other men when you're together. Most guys either stay silent, hoping it will stop, or they react with jealousy and anger. Neither approach works. Instead, you stay calm and direct. You say, "If you're interested in other people, that's your choice. But I'm not going to be part of something that feels disrespectful." No drama, no emotional outburst, just a clear standard. Boundaries like this clarify your values. You're not trying to change her behavior. You're showing what you will and won't allow in your life. That is strength. That is leadership. And that's exactly what earns lasting respect. Number 4. Remain calm under pressure. When emotions run high and you're being tested, your greatest strength is your ability to remain composed. Emotional pressure is often used, consciously or not, to provoke a reaction. It can come through comments about an ex, subtle comparisons, or behavior designed to make you feel jealous. Many men react immediately, giving away their control the moment they feel threatened. But that won't be you. You're going to approach these moments with the mindset of a stoic. When someone tries to push your buttons, you stay grounded. You respond with calm presence, not impulsive emotion. This doesn't just protect your peace, it changes the entire dynamic. By refusing to react, you become a mystery, and that unpredictability shifts the power back into your hands. Take this example. She brings up her ex in a way that seems deliberate. My ex used to take me here all the time, or I had the best summer with him. Most men would either get defensive or confrontational, but you don't flinch. You calmly respond with something like, "Sounds like that was a good memory." That's it. No drama, no insecurity, just acceptance without attachment. Or imagine you're in a group and she starts flirting with someone else. The average guy gets visibly annoyed, maybe even tries to outshine the other man or starts arguing later. But you simply observe. You stay cool. You don't compete for attention. You let her see that you're not rattled. And your silence speaks louder than any outburst could. This ability to stay calm, even when you feel provoked, shows true inner strength. It signals that your emotions are under your command, not the other way around. And that is a rare quality. Most people are used to getting a reaction. When they don't get one, they're forced to reconsider their approach. Staying calm under pressure isn't about pretending not to care. It's about responding with clarity rather than reacting with ego. And when you embody that kind of emotional discipline, you become someone who commands respect effortlessly. Number 5. Keep your focus on long-term goals. One of the most common reasons men lose their balance in relationships is because they chase short-term emotional rewards. They crave constant attention, validation, or immediate resolution to every issue. But Stoicism reminds us to think long-term, to stay anchored in our higher purpose. When you prioritize your long-term vision, whether that's advancing in your career, improving your health, mastering a skill, or deepening your discipline, you stop getting pulled into emotional turbulence. The day-to-day ups and downs of a relationship stop feeling like the center of your world. You start seeing them for what they are, small ripples in a much larger ocean. This shift does two powerful things. First, it gives you emotional stability. You're no longer dependent on someone else's affection to feel secure. Second, it increases your attractiveness. A man who is driven, focused, and moving forward with clarity is naturally compelling. He stands out because he's guided by purpose, not by neediness. Imagine you're dating someone and the connection seems strong. Then, without warning, she begins to pull back. Fewer messages, less interest, more distance. Most men panic. They become overly eager, try harder to fix things, and end up giving away their power by becoming too available. But a man with long-term vision doesn't react that way. He doesn't spiral or beg for attention. He keeps his pace. He continues building the life he values. If she stays, great. If she walks away, he doesn't collapse. His identity is not tied to her presence. This kind of focus creates emotional independence. You're no longer waiting for someone to validate you. Your fulfillment comes from what you're creating, who you're becoming, and the discipline you live by. And here's what often happens. When she sees that you're not chasing, not reacting, not dependent, her perception of you changes. You become the man who is deeply rooted, not easily swayed. That presence alone makes you rare, and rare in any context is irresistible. Number 6, do not retaliate emotionally. One of the most common traps men fall into is responding to emotional games with more emotional games. She does something that stings maybe, she flirts with someone else, goes quiet for days, or makes a passive-aggressive remark, and your first instinct is to strike back. You want her to feel what you felt. But here's the problem. The moment you retaliate, you hand her the power. Your actions become reactions. You're no longer in control of yourself. You're being led by emotion, and that is exactly what weakens your position. A stoic man never retaliates. He doesn't stoop to emotional one-upmanship. He understands that self-control is strength, and nothing is gained by matching immaturity with more immaturity. If she pulls back, he doesn't play games. In return, he simply redirects his energy toward what matters. If she tries to provoke jealousy, he doesn't respond in kind. He remains calm, unbothered, and focused. Picture this. You're at an event, and the woman you've been seeing starts flirting with someone else in plain view. The average guy reacts. He confronts her. Or worse, he tries to make her jealous by flirting with someone nearby. Both responses come from the same root, insecurity. You are going to choose a different path. You stay grounded. You don't react. You don't compete. You don't chase. You simply observe and carry on with your evening. That kind of calm presence is powerful because it shows she doesn't have control over your emotions. When you choose not to retaliate, you send a clear and unspoken message. You are not playing the game. You are not emotionally dependent. And you will not be pulled off center by someone else's behavior. Here's the outcome. Either the games stop, or the person playing them realizes you are not someone they can manipulate. Either way, you come out ahead. Because power is not in reacting. It's in mastering the urge to react and staying true to your values regardless of what others do. Number 7. Speak with clarity and firmness. Communication shapes every relationship, but most people either avoid the hard conversations or approach them in ways that escalate tension. Emotional outbursts, vague complaints, or silent resentment do nothing but create confusion and conflict. A stoic man understands the power of calm, direct communication. He does not bottle things up, and he does not let emotion hijack his message. He speaks clearly, and he does so without aggression or emotional neediness. The goal is not to dominate the conversation, but to express truth with steadiness. Let's say someone you're dating has been acting distant, canceling plans, or sending mixed signals. Most men either react emotionally or say nothing, hoping things fix themselves. But you take a different approach. You address it calmly and without judgment. You might say, "I've noticed some distance lately. If something's going on, I'd rather talk about it than make assumptions." You're not accusing her. You're not demanding anything. You're simply stating what you've observed and inviting clarity. This shifts the tone from confrontation to conversation. You're showing emotional maturity and inner control, which makes it easier for her to respond without becoming defensive. This approach also sets a powerful precedent. You're showing that you value open dialogue, and you're not going to avoid discomfort just to keep the peace. You expect transparency, and you're willing to model it. That kind of leadership in communication builds respect. When you speak, With calm conviction, you create a space where honesty can thrive. You eliminate the need for games, because you're not rewarding confusion or manipulation. You're not chasing clarity, you're creating it. That is the mark of someone who leads, not reacts. And it lays the foundation for a relationship built on strength, rather than emotional volatility. Number 8. Put your well-being first. Above any relationship, the most important connection you have is the one you have with yourself. Too many men lose sight of this when they get caught up in emotional drama or manipulative dynamics. They abandon their inner balance in pursuit of someone else's approval. If you find yourself constantly stressed, anxious, or second-guessing your every move to avoid upsetting someone, that's a sign something is off. No relationship is worth compromising your peace of mind or your self-respect. The moment you place someone else's emotional volatility above your own stability, you've already started drifting from your center. This isn't about being selfish. It's about maintaining balance. When you prioritize your own well-being, you show strength, not ego. You become someone who leads with clarity and refuses to be shaken by chaos. That quality is deeply attractive, not just to women, but to everyone around you. This principle applies far beyond dating. In your work, your friendships, your family life, your emotional health should be non-negotiable. It's the foundation on which everything else rests. Consider a situation where the person you're seeing constantly switches between interest and detachment. You begin to question yourself. You start adjusting your words, your actions, your time, just to avoid another withdrawal. Stop, take a step back and ask yourself a simple question. How is this making me feel? If the answer is exhausted, anxious, or drained, it's time to redirect your energy. Reinvest in what strengthens you, whether that's training your body, building your career, or spending time with people who genuinely support you. That choice restores your power. And here's the shift. When you stop prioritizing someone who plays games and start valuing your time and peace, one of two things will happen. Either she will recognize your value and respond with greater respect, or she will fade away because she no longer has control over your emotions. Either result is a win. You've either removed a source of chaos from your life, or established a healthier dynamic built on mutual respect. There's a widespread message today telling men to constantly cater to others, even at the cost of their own sanity. That message is false. Protecting your mental, emotional, and physical health is not optional. It is the foundation of any meaningful life. When you make it clear that your peace is not up for negotiation, you shift the dynamic entirely. You show that you're not here to be managed or manipulated. You're here to live with purpose, clarity, and strength. And anyone who wants to be part of that journey must meet you there. Number 9. Master the art of patience. Most men struggle with this, especially in dating. They want answers now, they want attention now, and they want certainty the moment something feels off. But that kind of urgency is exactly what gets exploited in emotional games. Patience is not passivity. It's power under control. In a world built on instant responses and impulsive reactions, the man who stays calm and waits with intention becomes rare. He becomes someone others cannot easily manipulate. When she doesn't respond to a message right away, you don't panic. When plans fall through, you don't rush to demand explanations. You observe, you wait. You let her reveal her intentions. Through time, not through forced conversations or emotional outbursts. This is where most men lose their footing. A few hours of silence turns into a string of needy texts. A sudden shift in tone causes them to start chasing. But the man who holds the line with patience does none of that. He doesn't chase. He doesn't guess. He simply continues with his life, fully engaged in his own path. Let's say she pulls back or becomes distant. You don't react. You don't push. You give space and wait. Not with bitterness, not with ego, but with calm self-trust. Eventually, she notices. She realizes you didn't take the bait, and that changes everything. Why does patience carry so much weight? Because it reveals inner strength. It shows that you are not desperate for anyone's attention or approval. You're not living at the mercy of someone else's mood. You have a direction, and you're moving forward, regardless of how fast someone else decides to keep up. Patience also teaches you to stop clinging to what doesn't serve your future. It removes you from the emotional roller coaster that so many men get stuck on, and instead of acting from impulse, you start acting with strategy. This isn't just about waiting for a message or deciding when to walk away. Patience applies to everything: your fitness, your finances, your personal growth. The Stoic man understands that real value is built over time. He doesn't rush the process. He studies it, waits for the right opening, and then acts with precision. Patience isn't weakness, it's restraint with purpose. And when you carry yourself with that kind of discipline, you don't just gain respect, you gain results. Long-term success always belongs to the man who can wait without breaking. Number 10. Know when it's time to walk away. This is where everything comes together. There's a simple truth that separates men who lead from those who chase: the ability to walk away and mean it. This isn't about ego, it's about self. It's the moment you draw a line that says, I value myself more than this situation. Not every connection is worth your time. If someone is consistently disrespecting your time, giving you mixed signals, or treating you like a backup plan, you have a choice. You can stay and tolerate it, or you can walk away without drama, without emotional outbursts, and without trying to force things to work. When you walk away, you send a powerful message. You're not begging for approval. You're not waiting to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. You're not punishing her. You're protecting your peace. Often, the moment you walk away is the moment the dynamic changes. Not because you're playing a game, but because walking away is the most authentic expression of confidence. It shows that your standards are not up for negotiation, that your worth doesn't need to be proven. But here's the catch. Walking away should never be a tactic to manipulate. You don't do it hoping she'll chase you. You do it because you've seen the pattern, you've measured the cost, and you've decided that your energy is better spent elsewhere. If someone keeps canceling on you, shows consistent disinterest, or plays emotional tug-of-war, you calmly say, this doesn't work for me. I'm not going to stay in something that doesn't feel honest or respectful. Then you leave. No follow-up texts. No lingering. You refocus on your goals, your progress, and the things that build your life. And yes, sometimes that walk is final. She might not come back. She might not notice right away. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you didn't compromise your self-respect just to hold on to someone who wasn't meeting you halfway. Most men fear walking away because they fear being alone. But the Stoic man knows that solitude is better than chaos. He would rather stand alone in peace than be entangled in a situation that chips away at his dignity. This kind of resolve is rare. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's unmistakably powerful. When you stop allowing others to dictate your emotional state, you reclaim control of your life. That's when you stop reacting and start leading. And that's the essence of true strength. So there you have it, 10 powerful principles to help you handle any woman who plays games with your emotions. But let's be clear, this isn't just about relationships. These are tools for life. When you master emotional detachment, set strong boundaries, stay calm under pressure, put your well-being first, practice patience, and know when to walk away, you become a man who can't be shaken, a man of discipline, a man of purpose. This isn't about playing games or manipulating women. It's about self-mastery. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't tolerate disrespect, who leads with clarity and confidence, and who knows his worth with or without anyone's validation. When you step into that version of yourself, everything changes. You stop chasing, you stop overthinking, and you naturally attract women and people who recognize your value. But remember, this is just the beginning. The work doesn't stop here. Keep growing, keep showing up for yourself. Keep applying these principles, not just in your life, but in your career, your fitness, your friendships, everywhere. If this video helped you support the channel, hit subscribe, join the membership. Whatever you choose, just know it helps us continue delivering high-value content and building a movement of men who refuse to be manipulated and who take ownership of their lives. Let's raise the standard. Let's lead ourselves and each other better. You're not just playing the game anymore, you're mastering it.